Hello, welcome to this new episode of ChronoTalks. We are going to talk today about the new version of ChronoJam. And this new version, as you know, you can download from here for Windows, for Mac, or for Linux on the bottom. But also you can read the changes. So we are going to read the changes. Here we have the changes of the different versions. As you may know, 2.1 means versions published in 2021, and 2.1, 0.0, 0.1, 0.2 are the three versions that have been published this year, in February, in March, and last one in July, just a few days ago. We're going to discuss a little bit about these changes, but just fast, and just showing what is involved. If you want the complete data, just check this website. So I'm going to put it on the site, and I'm going to open ChronoJam. And the first thing you will notice since this new version is that you are going to have a poll in the start. In this poll, you can answer which social network you use for watching videos, and this helps us to know where to publish these videos today and in a few months and in a few years. Of course, you can answer that you don't use social networks or you don't want to respond, or you can help us a little bit further if you choose the network, social network, and then you click on send poll. I'm not going to click on send poll right now because I don't want to alter the results, and just open ChronoJam. Okay, following the website that I have here on my right, let's see first the general ChronoJam changes. The first change you can see here is that when I'm, for example, in jams, simple or multiple, I can change from one mode to the other fast. Before I had to go here, but now, as you can see, when I'm in a mode of races, I can change between them. So this is faster, it's nice, and it's good for our ChronoJam network system. Also, it's very relevant that when you go to session load, you have here selected the columns to see the columns related to races, because right now we are in races mode, but we can see the jams or the encoder or the force sensor columns, and you see everything here, or data you have introduced of the persons. Also, when you have a selected session, you can edit that session or delete that session just from this window, so it's more easy to use. More things that is interesting is that if we go to the force sensor, is the gamified feedback path. You have seen that video in the ChronoTalks 5 that we have some feedback. That feedback is related to this bell here, and here you can configure the feedback and play with that worm, as you can see in that video that we recommend you again. Also, the exercise now have a configuration, the exercise of force sensor, where you can show the repetitions only concentric phase or both phases, and together or separated. And this is good for the analysis of the data and also for the sending the data. So analysis in the program or sending the data in the external model or in the when you export the data to another program, it's quite relevant. Also, it's important if you go to preferences, here preferences in force sensor analyze, we have the coefficient of variation of the root mean square successive differences. This calculation has changed a little bit from last version, so now it's more accurate. You will see the difference. And also we have now the root mean square of successive differences. This is a better index if you want to calculate the variability like an absolute value, but this is better if you want a relative value that compares the variation with the amount of force that you are doing. So choose whatever you prefer for your kind of analysis. Also, exporting the data, it had a little bit problems in the last version, so this we created in last version, this is worked okay, but in some Windows machines, depending if you have Latin accents in the name of the user or other kind of problems, this was not working with the images, and now it's working perfectly, so we hope that you enjoy it. Another change that is interesting in Force Sensor is that when you click adjust, now you have here much more clear the buttons of tare, calibrate and the feedback, and before it was here in the top and it was not very clearly seen. Of course there's a lot more changes, but this video want to be fast and please read that if you are interested. In encoder, when we go here right now, you need to have in mind that the configuration now is only for gravitatory encoder because we are in gravitatory mode. But if I change to inertial encoder with these buttons, the configuration will be related to inertia. Also the exercises, whatever exercise that we like to do, the exercises can be gravitatory, inertial or both. This has to be configured, for example, for inertial. And this will solve problems if you have captured before in a mode and then you select it like another mode. So also you have to see that this control of edit is nicer or the adding an exercise is nicer. And just for ending in encoder, as you know, in inertial encoder we have a method for calculate inertial machines, inertial machines, and this method was not working correctly in the last two versions and now it's fixed thanks to one user that said this to us and we fix it fast for him. Okay, so in Race Analyzer you will see nicer things, because when we go here and we check, for example, BL, that is our colleague, and here when we load the data, we have now a speed time and distance time and acceleration time graph. In last version we only have this speedometer, and now we have all of them in real time in the capture, and now when you load you can see it also, and it's nice and it helps you to detect any problem that happened. Also the exported data here that we have now includes instantaneous data, because some users asked for that, and this means that model and raw data is exported at each sample. And also all the exporting has been fixed with the Windows accents like the other mode. And there's more things, but this is more the relevant. In jumps and races there are lots of changes that we have made, but let's start, for example, in multiple jumps. When we go to show table, in the past power and stiffness in the past versions have not been calculated this average, but now this average is calculated, so this is a nice thing. More important than that, when we perform the jumps, there are some configurations. For example, here in a squat jump with load we have some extra weight that we use, or in this drop jump we fall down from some height or from inside or whatever. These options now are remembered, so when you close ChronoJam and open, when you select one test of jumps, simple or multiple, it remembers that options, and that options are automatically selected like before. And this is especially more helpful when you are doing, for example, 3 different jumps with some people, and you have to be changing the configurations all the time, and maybe you can confuse. Now you don't need it all the time, because as I was saying to you, this is remembered. So any other options? Yes, in sprints, here in races with photocells, intervallic, these sprints of here that you know that we can show here. So these sprints can be exported also like the other modes that you have seen before. Many users asked for that, and you have here as a reality. And of course this includes everything, and especially the labs, and the labs can be different, so columns will be created in the spreadsheet, in the CSV, for showing the data correctly and help you to export your data. Also the test RSA had a few problems that we have not detected until a user told to us, so now it's fixed. So all these tests, some of them ended too early, and now they end as it has to be, so sorry for that bug. Also another nice thing is that all the jumps now have the daytime, or the races have date time, and this date time can be used for see here in the table, for detect any problem that maybe you had a mistake and you capture with another person, and you can check it, see in the date time. This is also exported, and also this date time can be used for seeing this new graph, the races by time. So when we select this person, here we have the different races a long time, but this person only made races at this moment, so this graph is not relevant with this data, but this graph, it helps to compare the data intersession. That is something that a lot of people want. So there's more changes, as you can see, but going to ChronoJam networks, the most relevant is not here in the software, is more in the website. So website is improving a lot of ChronoJam networks, and website helps you to see the data of all the stations and to create new exercise, create new tasks, synchronize the machines and everything. So there are some changes here in the software, but the relevant is in the website. And finally, you need to know that we have a team of translators that translate the software continuously, and they do it for free and they do it with passion, and this is the translations of our last version. So we hope that you like this new version, the 2.1.2, and of course we are working in the next and doing all the time new things. Okay, it's a pleasure again, and see you.